listening to the Barretta Brothers, two of us. For best results, use both ears.
So, what the hell? What is that?
Can I? Don't make me move. Do you think I can get this dried cranberry in my mouth without touching it?
If you do that guy jaw thing that you do, you gotta stick the big mouth out, lip out. Put your teeth back. Just lip. Oh!
It went way too far.
Because your nose is so friggin' big. Oh.
About
right.
with a walnut. Ready? One more time.
Wait,
this time
okay.
I'll use a.
That's what you're doing to try and get it off.
I know. Maybe I'll try a peanut. Ready? You hear the dog upstairs or downstairs? Here we go. Ready?
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Almost bit the lens.
It's impossible.
Here. I'm going to try and drink.
Oh, I realized what I have to do. Yeah, that's it. Go ahead. Give it a try.
Let me try drinking. Ready?
Yeah.
If I actually did this, you would lose your mind. Because it will just fly. It'll just fly right into the computer. Ready? Here we go. Let me go for it. I'm just doing it. No, I'm not. No,
I found out how to do it, though. You just have to put your tongue. Ready?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, close.
Oh,
You know,
close.
I could have probably sold you on that. It went so fast.
Yeah, it did look like it. Well, while Gene's doing this, I'm just going to plug his site. Go to genebarretta.com so you can see things like this with his art. This is what you'll see is him trying to catch things from his nose, mouth. He did a pop-up. See, there's a pop-up jump one.
I did it. You see, don't give up on your dream.
Or you could go to Jules' Little Gems and see some videos that have no new ones, but if you haven't seen them yet, they're fun little things about Jules the bear and the kid, and you can go there, and that's kind of fun. And then you can go to the BarrettaBrothers.com, where there's all kinds of things in the gallery, like videos and our past shows and photos, and Gene maybe will be doing these things again. But today we have some very special guests. We have, Gene, you want to tell them?
Well, not only do we have special guests, but this is our first two-parter.
That's right.
Part one.
So much good stuff.
Yeah. We had so much good stuff on these two. Why edit? Share it with the world.
Give. It's all about giving. So we've got me. So we have the incomparable jazz singer, Jane Gootnick.
Just give false titles.
Yeah.
Pilot. She's been a pilot for 20 years now.
She flies for Delta, and she's also a jazz singer as well. And she has her cabaret. I think it's Wednesday nights at the
won the
Brown
first
Derby.
title, 1982 Olympics, 50-yard dash.
Right. And she's also on the golfing circuit. She's a pro golfer. And she also designed and creates all kinds of things, including some stuff she did for the Muppets and the Jim Henson Company. Yeah. And then we also have a guy named Kevin Clash who began one of the very first pretzel carts in Baltimore.
True. And when did he stop writing for the New York Times?
I think it was like 67, 68.
To become a circus clown, right?
Right, yeah. He joined Ringling Brothers, and then he started his own thing he had moved to Somalia, and
Where he
thought,
invented Razzles.
right, and he thought the Razzle Circus, and that's where it all kind of happened.
So it was a combination Razzle and Flea Circus.
Yeah, the Fleas would do all kinds of things with the Razzles, and
Who would have thought
anyway,
he took all those experiences and put them into his own paintings and, sold out his first MoMA exhibition?
go to the MoMA. Basically, just go to the MoMA. And then, of course, sculpting, and he dabbled in that. He has a couple out in front of the steps in Philadelphia, right, Gene? The steps that go up to the museum. He has a couple sculptures there.
He designed that whole hologram of Rocky running up the steps in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and which we'll talk about. And he's dabbled a bit, I understand, with the Muppets in some way, like Jane, but nothing really that notable. Or
Well, one thing that he's really well known for is he was the creator of that cute little red character from Sesame Street. Everybody loves Elmer.
Elmer, yep. How does he talk? He always talks in, Elmer loves you, right? Yeah, Elmer loves you. He's so cute.
Voice like that Tom Waitsy kind of.
Yeah, the gravelly. Elmer loves you. He's so cute.
Got a lozenge? Got a lozenge? That's a catchphrase.
Right. Hey kid, got a lozenge? So, all right, so let's get to it. So let's get on with it. Let's get like Gene said, we've got 2 parts. Oh.
Before we do, let's just mention that later in the show, we're going to announce the winner of the Kevin Clash trivia question we asked last week.
Yes.
The question being, technically speaking, which was the first Muppet that Kevin performed? And it's based on the answer he gives in this interview.
Yes, what he says is the answer.
Yeah, and then we're also going to have another contest for you to announce.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, here they are. Well, here's Jane. Part 1 of Jane Gootnick. Why do you always look up? Why are we up there? I don't get it. Are you ready for her? Jane, 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 Jane. Jane, Jane, Jane. Come on. Jane, Jane, Jane. Come on, Jane. Jane is cool. Woo! You're playing it cool. She's playing it cool. Ooh. Hi, Jane.
Hello, darlings.
Hi, darling. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good. What are you doing?
Nothing.
We just thought we'd call and see what you're up to.
Just hanging out,
Yeah.
Nowhere to go.
Let's see your nails.
How are your nails doing? Good.
Oh my God. That to die for.
Where'd you get the bracelet?
Oh, I don't remember.
What? You remember everything.
I know, but I buy these in all different places.
What's your favorite kind of jewelry?
I don't wear jewelry. I don't wear jewelry really.
Well, you have bride. You got great. The what?
I like my padlocks.
Ah.
You're so punk. You're so
Malas aren't
punk.
really jewelry. Malas are more like a Buddhist thing.
Can I ask you something right off the bat?
Okay.
Where did you grow up? Can you
I
tell
grew up
her?
in the Hudson River Valley.
Hudson River Valley.
Hour north of New York, which is very trendy now, but at the time it was just country. It was not even suburbs really. It was like farms and right at the base of the Catskill Mountains. So there's all the forest. There was a ski resort there. It was like woodsy and farms and.
Shecky Green came through town on his way up to the Catskills.
All those resorts are just up from there, yeah. And then, but also Woodstock's up there, like the very mix between very hippy dippy stuff and the very New York culture stuff. It's only an hour from the city.
Yeah, and your grandfather was a rabbi? No, not a rabbi. He was a
cantor.
Cantor.
Right, well-known cantor, but I think he was also a rabbi, and his grandfather was a rabbi. And,
Yeah, what did your dad do?
He had when he was younger, he worked at a radio station, and then on the East Coast, and then he started a plumbing supply business, and then our town had like nothing in it. It was like it was tiny. It just had like a pizza parlor and a library and a roller skating rink.
Wow.
So he designed and built the bowling alley there.
Wow.
Cool.
It burned down like 3 years ago, but it was there for ages. It was wonderful. It was like this hub of action in the town, you know.
Right. He created a community place.
Yeah. So he did that, and he collected art and sculpture, and he did philanthropy. So do
you feel like some of your, born innate talent comes from your dad as far as creating and that, or did your mother have some of that as well, design or?
Yeah, my mother's side was the more artsy side.
Ah.
So she had studied art in New York when she went to I think she went to the New School for Social Research. And we have relatives, lots of artsy relatives, like Jerome Robbins, the choreographer. He's my cousin.
I remember you said, oh my God.
And David Sarnoff, who started RCA, is a cousin. And my other uncle helped invent the television. And my mother's best friend was in music publishing. But my other uncle was in a publishing, I just found this out yesterday. He was in a publishing company, music publishing. And he helped Frank Sinatra start his career.
Get out of here.
He worked for a music publishing company. They'd grown up in Jersey City or Hoboken or whatever, and they knew he used to go around to the clubs in New York to look for talent, to bring them in to sing the songs that this music company was publishing. Supposedly there was this one song, and they had suggested this guy to sing it, and he said, "No, you shouldn't use that guy. You should use this guy, Frank Sinatra."
So obviously there's just tons of talent and entertainment and design just running through your veins. And what did you do this as a kid? Were you into that? Were you into creating things and drawing and designing and making stuff as a kid?
No.
No. When did you get interested? When did it kind of go, oh, I like that? Or
I'll tell you two stories. One is when I was very young, I wanted to be an architect. And then I sort of shifted over and got interested in theater. And then also I wanted to be Diana Vreeland. She's the editor of Vogue. Because my father used to have all his clothes made in New York at the Tripplers. It was like this big Savile Row-y type place. He liked to have his clothes made. And my mother's mother owned a clothing store. Like, I don't know. It all merged together. But anyway.
Right. Our grandfather on our father's side was a tailor.
And all his brothers.
Yeah, and he made like all the uniforms for Valley Forge Military School and made our father's clothes when they were kids. And so my father always liked to dress, everything was really important, how things fit him and, Same with our uncle.
That's partly how we got our thing. We have it in us from childhood, yeah. But anyway, so I took an art class when I was 5 at this woman across the road. She gave an art class for little kids, and we had to draw. She gave us a piece of paper, and you put your hand on, and you draw around it like this, and then it's like a turkey, right? Because it was Thanksgiving. Because I started right before Thanksgiving, and she said, "Okay, now make a turkey." So I did this thing, and then I drew my turkey. And when she went around critiquing, she looked at it and she said, "That doesn't look like a turkey." And I said, "Who are you to tell me anything about what that is?" And I quit. I ran home and I quit.
Good for you. Who is this lady?
I never took an art class my whole life.
Wow, you're amazing.
I just didn't think that people can tell you. I mean, I know art history, but people can't tell you what your art is. Just started early. I don't know, feisty.
Right. Well, Gene's like that. He started just naturally with that in him and wanting to kind of try and get it out. He didn't, and not until like school, right, Gene, where you Miss Storm probably influenced you.
I mean, there were classes along the way. Yeah, Nella Storm was my 5th, 6th grade art teacher was a huge influence. But so I was going to ask you then, since you were self-taught, we all have people we admire and we emulate, and we try to copy their styles, or their work inspires us to at least make a start? Who was that for you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, since I was a kid, I was always going into New York to museums. So I pretty much saw the whole gamut of the Metropolitan and MoMA. You know, I just saw all that. But I think my first person I tried to think to be was Giacometti.
Oh, wow. Cool. What did you find appealing about his work?
I liked his exaggerated. I guess early I liked taking what's normal and stretching it and pushing it to some other place.
Right. Stretching literally Giacometti.
Yeah. Him in particular, but just everything. Just like take it and tweak it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That is what you do. You take something and you refine it, and you
I don't know about refine it. But you know, when you it's just
tweak
like,
it and
yeah. There's no point in making something that's already been made. But when you're working collaboratively with other people, you don't always want to just go to like some new place, because maybe because it's a job, it's a real life job. So you have to have some rules and some boundaries on it if it's commercial, where it involves other people.
Yeah.
If you're a fine artist, to do what you want, but I'm not a fine artist.
But do you sometimes having those constraints makes you more creative, right?
It can.
Because
freedom from discipline. It can be like you have a limited budget, you have limited time, like all that. But as long as you don't resist,
I think
any situation can become like a great thing.
It's like the independent filmmakers. Sometimes they're the most creative because they're working with all they have. They can't just say, give me $1 million to build a staircase that I'm imagining. They need to make it work in a more creative way.
Limited in some materials sometimes, right? Like how using the materials that were there, that you create this amazing thing out of limitations, sorry.
Yeah, sometimes entire styles are created on just your resources.
Yeah.
Oh, all I had was some cement and some tar, and then it becomes something nobody's ever seen.
Like when I invented the Reese's cup, all I had was chocolate and peanut butter, right? And I just put them together.
And you had a cup.
Who knew?
Put it in there.
See?
Yeah.
Now everybody copies me.
Now I'm eating.
Oh no, yeah. But let me ask you this: so even though I've known you for 30 years, it didn't really sink in as to how many characters that you've created over the years that are such favorites of people, right? It's true. There are certain characters. I know, look at her. There are certain characters that stand out, and there's certain characters that kind of go along, right? But there are so many that you have designed or been a part of and created that I think are unique and are special and do stand out, even though, well, I can't even say that. I was going to say even though they're not the lead character or something necessarily, but like I think of the baby, right? You built, not that you didn't draw and design, but you created a puppet that looked and like the design, but still had a baby feel, but could also be that naughty. It's a special thing to be able to translate someone's artwork into something that people are drawn to and love, and you do that over and over and over throughout your career. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Tell us about the origins of Mickey Mouse, for example. How long did you spend at the drafting table?
Yeah, and Gumby.
Or did they Gumby?
What's that? That's right, you did.
But not the original Gumby.
No, but you did.
I did.
Right, we'll come back to that.
Okay, case closed. I'm not even going to say any more about that right now. We're going to learn. We're going to see these things later. Okay. So tell me, how'd you get to Sesame Street? How did you get to Henson? Where were you, and how did that connection happen?
Okay, so
I knew it. You did Gumby. I'm telling you.
All right, well, explain that now.
Yeah, but not. All right, I'll get to that. Okay. So not.
Okay.
After college, I moved to Europe. I worked in Belgium and with a theater company, experimental theater company, and I thought I was going to go live there in Belgium. That's what I thought, but it wasn't quite the right fit. So then I moved to London, and then I was going to live in London, except when my visa ran out, I couldn't renew, so I came back. So I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I started doing mass props stuff around New York in the experimental and Joe Papp and all this, And then somewhere along the way, I got this job at the Brooks Van Horen Costume Company, which was the big costume company in New York, like Western costume. Just like a 5-floor giant warehouse down on Broadway on 18th, 19th and Broadway, or 14th. Anyway, down there.
Yeah.
And so the top floor was all costume and building, design and build. And then there were 2 floors of rental. And then there was a floor of prop and costume building.
And what did you do there?
Yeah, so I was a head sculptor there in that shop. So we did like Broadway shows and feature films and Ringling Brothers Circus and commercials and the first 3 seasons of Saturday Night Live, because that's when I happened to be there.
Right.
So while we were doing that, and I hadn't grown up on Muppets. I mean, that was like after my childhood was over already. All that, except for maybe, the Troy Dragon or something. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so Callista Hendrickson, who was renting costumes for, I guess maybe for SNL or some other stuff, they would come through visiting on their way while they were renting. And she said, over at Henson, they're starting to build this movie, Dark Crystal, and they're looking for sculptors. Maybe you should go over and talk to them. And I thought, well, I'm not really a puppet person. I didn't grow up on Muppets or anything. And but I really liked Scred and Clubus and Favog from that first season.
Yeah, I love them. I love those characters.
Oh, if I hadn't seen anything, but I thought if that's the kind of puppets it is, yeah, that would be really fun. I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that. And I wasn't really that much of a risk to lose my job, because there was a lot of jobs in the arts in that era. And also I was making $3.50 an hour. So it wasn't like a big risk.
Right.
So anyway,
but you were in like the place to be doing what you were doing. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the place. So, and I was like the head sculptor. I mean, I'd been there 3 years full time. It was a good job,
Right.
And, Broadway shows and like all this stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
So I went over to just talk to them, and they said, well, we really don't need any sculptors right now, actually. But we need someone to build a prototype harness for the Skeksis, which is this large puppet that someone's going to have to stand underneath. And we know you made harnesses for like headdresses you were making for the elephants for Ringling Brothers.
Oh.
The jobs I'd had, and they knew I made harnesses and support things.
Right.
And we had to do that. And I thought, well, yeah, I could do that, I guess. I can't start for 3 weeks, though, because I'm finishing up a thing for Ringling Brothers for this fall. And amazingly, and they said, no, that's okay. We'll wait for you. Just come back in 3 weeks. I thought, what kind of company is that? I've never heard of a company that does that. And they said, yeah, we'll wait. So 3 weeks later, when I finished that job, I quit my job and I went there for 3 weeks of work. And then I finished that prototype and they liked it. And they said, well, you want to stay and make some other stuff? So they gave me other stuff. Like mystic stuff and just a bunch of stuff. And then after, I was on it for like 8 months. And then at the end of the 8 months, the main build went to England to the other shop. Not shooting yet, but the build. And I was done. So I thought, well, that was good. That was fun. And then they said, do you want to stay and maybe make puppets here? And I said, well, I don't really make puppets. They said, no, we're going to have a workshop. And we're going to, try and make some stuff. And you can have 2 weeks. So anyway, so I did that workshop, and then that worked out. And then, so I went over to the Muppets. And then...
but wait, who else was in that workshop that you remember? Who else was like at your level learning?
All I remember was, they were all really talented. It's just they weren't puppet people particularly. Well, there was Tim Clark, who ended up eventually coming freelance to build Traveling Matt later, and Lyle Conway, and Fred Nida, who had built the Gartham. Fred had a prop shop in New York, and I'd actually gone to interview with him, but he's the one that sent me to Brooks. But anyway, I went to see him early on when I got back from London, and he said, I don't think you should work for me because I think you'll be bored, because you have to do exactly what I say. They're my designs, and my shop runs that it has to look exactly like what I want, and you have your own ideas, and I think why waste your talent trying to do my stuff when you should be doing your stuff? I mean, wasn't that amazing? He said that.
Yeah.
And so he sent me to Brooks. Brilliant. Anyway, a whole bunch of people all interviewed there, but apparently Jim only turned out had needed just the one person.
Oh, really? So out of that workshop, it was you?
Yeah.
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 Well, I didn't have an agenda. It was like, hey, you want to do Dark Crystal? Yeah, sure. Hey, you want to make Muppets? Sure. I mean, like,
I'm sure that's what he loved.
The key is you just say yes.
Right.
Whatever anyone says, do you want to go do Muppet Show? Yeah, sure. You want to go to England and do the Muppet Show? Yeah.
Well, but stories that I've heard about Jim, and we always hear these stories about how he collected people around him, interesting people that he felt would add to the mix, whether they were completely in sync or not at the time. He recognized things in people, and I have to believe that that's what he must have recognized in you. That there was something about you that needed to be a part of that world of his.
I'm going to say that's true, because I know that's how he was with everyone else, so I'm going to assume it was true for him.
Yeah. How amazing. How special that is.
Yeah. All of us who work there, I mean, it was interesting. It's a combination, because when people, it's a luck, but you bring your own stuff to the table, and then if people want it, they'll, it's not like everything came from Jim. I mean, he knew that. Like, people brought stuff to him, but he was such a great collector of people.
Yeah.
So that was one of his skills. I mean, he had tons of skills, but that was one of them.
And how interesting that what was his name? Fred? No.
Fred Nida.
Fred Nida. So his approach, and he was very honest about, these are my designs and you have to make that. And then you come to a place where Jim is, here's some designs, but here, and people are going, yeah, but see what you think.
I tell you, right from the beginning, when they said, oh, we'll wait for you 3 weeks. That's okay. You can't start right away. Like, I was like, this is not normal. But then it never stayed normal. And it wasn't like it was airy-fairy. Like, it was like, Jim was just like expansive and courageous and curious. It was like, it wasn't commercial at all, but it wasn't done in some kind of like sit up in the country and, make puppets in the woods. I mean, it was a completely serious international business model, but it had a completely organic kind of almost like little theater group kind of temperament. It was a really magic mix. And because Jim was successful and true to himself, he just found ways to keep doing it. They understood budgets. They understood deadlines. They understood marketing. They knew what they were doing. They weren't like some like group of like happy little kids.
Right.
It wasn't la la la. It was like serious, like grown-ups. But they had but not corporate. Like really strange. Like instead of like a vertical hierarchical structure, the company was lateral. I think I can't speak for him, but I think he knew that if you create something that's not new or fresh, then why bother?
Right. Yeah.
He just wanted to. I mean, yeah.
Right.
He wanted to push and expand, because his view as a person, he's such a big, wide thinker. So very visionary person, and he could see possibility beyond even what we had. And sometimes he would try and seek people out to invent technology, because his brain was ahead of what the technology was he had available to him. Early radio control, like he was way deep in. I mean, if he were around now with the technology they have now, oh my God, I can't even imagine what he'd be doing now.
Yeah.
Right.
It sounds
love technology. Love.
So what's the first Muppet you created?
Let's see. I guess, well, in the Muppet shop, the first, then I guess I made 3 weasels for a Muppet band for a season 3 Muppet show, and then I made some props for Sesame Street, like a square meal, but everything on the plate square, like square peas, carrots, square mashed potatoes, that kind of stuff.
Right.
I made what's his name? The gargling gargoyle. What's his name? That guy. What I forget his name. Anyway, I made that. What's his name?
The
McGonagall or whatever his name is.
Yeah. That you made him?
That guy.
Oh right.
And then I made Dr. Teeth.
McGonagall. Yeah. Wait, Jane. What's his name?
I forget.
He's Irish, right? Or Scottish or something.
For
right?
which show? For
The
Sesame
Muppet Show.
Street?
For Muppet
Oh,
Show.
a Muppet Show. Okay.
Because you're asking about Muppet. And then I made a new cookie. Well, and then I made a new Fozzie. And then I made Dr. Teeth into the Cheshire Cat for Brooke Shields for Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, cool.
And then I made Rizzo.
And then you made Rizzo. Yeah, okay. So, yes, another one, Rizzo the rat.
Rizzo in form, yeah.
Yeah, and
he was based off an earlier rat design that Don Salim had done that was similar.
Oh, really, Don Salim? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Jean, I just want to start asking her about some of my favorites that she's designed. Can we do that? Is that good? Anything else you want to ask her at this point?
No. Oh, you know what?
Will you marry me?
So my last, yes.
Yay! She's gonna really be my sister.
Will? She will.
She said she will.
What were you gonna say?
We're gonna edit all this out, right? So
No, not that part.
No, you accept it.
Because
Okay, so all right. So I said earlier, so many characters that people don't realize, and I didn't realize. Well, we're talking about certain characters, and I'm just going to throw out a few: Trash Heap in Fraggle Rock, okay, Rizzo the Rat, Sal Manella, Seymour. Didn't you do Seymour?
I did.
Seymour, Duke. You just mentioned McGonagall. I think that's his name. I wish I knew it. But the list goes on. Didymus, right? It goes on and on. And the baby from Dinosaurs. Johnny. But can we start? Can we start with Sal and talk about Sal?
Sure.
Great.
It is McGonagall.
It is.
Is it really?
No, that sounds right. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. Angus
And
McGonagall.
it was Jerry. Was it Jerry, I think? I think it was Jerry, too.
Angus McGonagall.
The first thing I made on Muppet Show when I went to England was the head on the Viking ship for in the Navy.
Oh, really?
That the mast, the wood. And I made it. And then Jim had me perform it. So that all that video that's all over YouTube, like the big famous, everybody sees everybody.
Yeah.
Inside the ship. I was left out of like being part of Muppet history. Like everyone goes, "Oh, look!" When you see like the really old days, and there's a piece of footage, and then
you're in the hull,
and then no one knows you were there. Like,
well, they do now. They do now. Hey, why do you always look up? Everything's up. We're always up there.
Yeah, I see you.
No, you don't. What do you mean? How are we up there all the time? What if we were down here?
I spaz too much when I laugh.
Well, that was cool. Jane is cool.
Yep. And there's more. There's going to be more next. Sorry, there's going to be more Jane next week.
Another wonderful half of Jane coming to you next week. So, Gene, do you want to tell them about our new little contest coming up?
Yes. Listen to this, folks. How would you like to be a contestant on our next episode of Oh, I Knew That?
Oh, I knew that.
We're going to do another Muppet trivia game with questions provided by toughpigs.com.
Thank you, Tough Pigs.
You got to be both a subscriber to our YouTube page and join our mailing list. You got to do both. If you already are both, you're still in the running. If you're not, then get busy. And then on our website, send us an email and prove to us that you're an expert on Muppet trivia. You got to sell us on the fact that you should be a contestant on the next episode.
And if you don't know, if you haven't seen the previous episode of Oh, I Knew That, it's basically a Muppet trivia game. You're going to go head-to-head against somebody else. So we're picking two people who can convince us that they should be a part of Oh, I Knew That.
Watch episode 6. You'll get a flavor for what we're talking about.
All right, so now let's get into our next half with Kevin Clash, which I can't wait to hear. What's that?
This now?
What? Kevin Clash, Calvin Clay?
Calvin Clay. That's what it was.
I can't wait to hear about Razzles in Somalia. This is going to be great, and how he created that whole thing.
It's really insightful. Yep.
All right,
so let's
Gene,
do it.
You want to look up, and here we go. Gene, you ready?
Let's do it.
Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Calvin Clay.
Don't start. I'll tell my ex-wife Gina that you use that, and she'll be like, "Yeah."
Welcome, Calvin.
Calvin Clay, take Regina Loving.
Can you just quickly say that? Say your wedding.
When my ex-wife, when Gina and I got married, he was 95 years old. He was actually her pastor for so many years. He actually baptized, and all this stuff. And so we get there, and I can't feel my legs because I'm so nervous. I don't know why. I keep saying to Jim Martin, "Am I here?" And then and then he starts, "Do you, Regina Loving, take?" And then she said, "I, Gina Loving, take." And then he said, "Do you, Calvin Clay, take Regina Loving?" And I said, "I, Kevin Clash, take Gina Loving." And you guys are doing exactly what everybody is doing in the seats behind us.
Right.
And they try not to laugh too much.
I love that.
They
That's so great.
Because he was 95,
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
For him to do it, But
this is where? And where'd you grow up? And where'd you get married, actually?
She lived in Aberdeen, Maryland. So her church was in Aberdeen, Maryland, which is about 45 minutes outside of Baltimore, Baltimore City, where I was, or Baltimore County. And so it was Aberdeen, Maryland.
That's awesome. I love it. It's my favorite story.
Listen, you can do whatever you want. It's your show.
Well, we just
Stop.
So we just jump right in and we say things like, "Calvin, where were you born?"
Baltimore, Maryland. I was at it was called Chocolate City, actually. Turner Station. It was called.
You're thinking of Hershey, PA.
No. Well, I know what I'm thinking, Jim. You don't have to speak for me.
Not Hershey, Pennsylvania?
No. I used to love going to Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Right.
A place that and of course we would go there, and I hate chocolate, so of course that's a great place to go.
Oh, man. You know, my grandmother told me, can I just tell you real quick? My grandmother told me once where they got Nestle's Crunch.
How did they
came from? A man fell into the big vat while they were making chocolate.
You're such a liar.
I swear to God.
That's what I was told.
Grandma,
it happened. It really happened.
Shut up.
A guy did fall in, but she made it up like that's how they came up with the recipe.
Wait a minute. I always knew that story, but I never knew it was attached to the Nestle's Crunch thing.
Oh, yeah.
I never heard that part of it.
Humor with your family was all way back there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
And, of course, extreme lies.
Right. To get you to spin your head around a few times.
I can't believe that I'm on talking with the Barretta boys because, oh, my goodness. The stuff that I know about you guys would put you would put you under the jail. Jimmy Hopper was bad. I mean, my goodness, you guys.
But
Well,
wait,
it was all worth it.
I
All
remember
worth it to meet our grandfather.
used to say, the families, the neighborhood is saying, please don't deal with them. Stay away from the Barretta boys.
They did.
But
here.
you told me.
So when was this?
Oh my goodness.
When?
Let me tell you what's across from me. This is what's great. What was across from me is a big, one of those big floor televisions. You put it on the floor, and then up above was Angela Davis.
Oh yeah.
My mom was very militant, and she was in everything, and so I would watch TV, and then there was this big frame picture of Angela Davis above television, and then at some point she took it down because, my mom and dad, they've been so supportive that she knew that I would watch Sesame Street or I would watch something and they put a big mirror above. And so I would perform my puppets and learn my lip sync, watch or lip sync into something like Motown on TV or something like that. So she put a big mirror above it so I could learn how to lip sync, and keep learning that way.
That is so smart. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. They were there.
To have that forethought, that's amazing.
They were there. They connected to what I was doing, before I even knew what I was doing.
I'm trying to sort out which one is the puppeteer in this photo.
Well, that's I mean, look at the grease. Look at all the grease on my forehead. That was that afro. We called that a ush. Because
how old are you?
It never really turned into a nice afro bush, so we called that an ush.
How old are you here?
Ooh, I'm about 10, 11.
So did you make all these? Did you have someone help you make them?
No, I made all of these. And what was really funny is I used to go really, really close to the TV to really try to see how the seams were, how they got rid of the seams. My mom said, you better get back away from that TV. You're going to go blind. But I used to. So yeah, these are all mine. And these all stayed in my mom and dad's bedroom.
Wow.
And I remember once my mom said she woke up one night saying, I see eyes. Eyes. It was some moonlight or something that was hitting the puppets. And she said it was the worst nightmare. But they were on yellow shelves, all these big yellow shelves in their room, in their bedroom, because there was no other room for them.
Actually, let me ask you this: How do you get to Sesame Street? Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street?
What's interesting through Kermit Love, who helped create Big Bird and Snuffy. What happened is I went up. I was already connected with Stu, and Stu was really close friends with Bob Keeshan. So he was already setting up that relationship as far as me going and doing Captain Kangaroo. But in my 12th grade, we went on a trip to New York. And before that, I had already known about about Kermit, and I wanted to meet him. Mm-hmm. So fortunately, we got in touch with him, and he said, well, whenever you're in New York, meet up. So I went on this school trip. And I took the subway for the first time. Oh my goodness, please no. And, got there somehow and met with Kermit. And he was really impressed with what I knew. I had to be like maybe 15, 16, 17 around. Wow. And he was really impressed. He said, but they had already cast everybody as far as anybody knew. Right. So nothing would happen. So I went back and then when I got back, Stu said, well, Keeshan would like to try you out on Sesame. On Captain. So that's what happened.
What an amazing way to start into your career.
Let me just add.
I was in my teens. Who knew? I was in my teens. And then after that, I think Sesame Street. I did a Captain Kangaroo.
Right.
Captain Kangaroo, and then you know what? I started doing the Great Space Coaster.
Oh, right. So that was before Sesame? Right.
Because I remember John
This is from that, right?
Yep. You see my skinny. I wish I was that skinny now. You find food and look what happens. So somebody told John Stone about me. So John went over. Yeah, actually, Ted May, who was one of assistant directors of Sesame Street, worked on the Great Space Coaster. So John went over because he heard about this, this young black puppeteer. Lo and behold, it's the day that I'm doing Garrido, and there's a song, and the three singers, they couldn't lip sync the song.
Oh.
So there was a big thing of bananas in front of me. And so I'm working the puppet, and they kept saying, go to the Garrido, go to Garrido. I kept getting tired of it. So I was like, doing this with the banana. And, I got tired of having to, take care of. So I was like, y'all not going to use me. I was really big. So that was the day that John Stone came over, and he saw me doing all of this bad stuff.
Messing around, yeah.
He went back and said, yeah, he's not for us.
Oh, really? That's so funny.
No, well, to be honest with you, I think that what happened is I started doing workshops with Jim Henson, Jim Henson's wife.
Right.
And I started doing, that was between, I was doing, Great Space Coaster. I was doing Captain Kangaroo, but they, but somehow Jane said, you want to come over and do workshops as my assistant. So I did that.
Now it's been, of course, your most popular character, Elmer, is.
I love Elmer.
Came around
We love Elmer.
So how long was it before that all started up?
Well, I was on the show, and when I first started, Karen Prell, who went on to do Red Fraggle, who is an amazing puppeteer, Michael.
I love Karen. Mike Quinn?
No, Michael. Oh my goodness.
Bubba Dudowski?
No, Michael Davis. Michael Davis was this amazing puppeteer who, unfortunately, is not with us anymore. We were all there because Jim and Frank and Jerry, they were all, well, Jim and Frank mainly, were all starting to develop the Muppet Show. So they weren't really on Sesame Street as much anymore, trying to, get that going. Richard Hunt, who, is amazing. And also Jerry Nelson, they were the ones who holding the fort at Sesame.
Right.
But they started all these new, they couldn't have Kermit anymore on Sesame Street because, they were gearing up for this, for this new show. So the newcomers like me and actually Marty Robinson also was a newcomer. We were all trying to, so they were developing all these characters that were just not good, I was doing something Professor D. Rabbit or actually Hoots came out of that.
Oh really?
Okay.
Out of that, but Ferlinghetti, Donizetti was this like beatnik character that rhymed all the time. Hey, is he the big super? He's like Bebop. From the other project that I know Bill knows about, but nothing was really working. So I was just doing all these wonderful production numbers. I was having a great time.
Yeah.
And then one of the writers, well, the builders would always build monsters all the time. They would keep building monsters because you could use them for anything with Sesame. And so they made this little red monster.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what they was doing, but they just added it as. And I remember there was a production number where Jerry was doing, and it was like it was like, and then one of the writers really took a liking to it and said to the producers, I really want to start writing something for it. And he came up with the name of Elmo and everything. And so Brian Mule, who was this amazing puppeteer on at the time, he originated Nobel Prize telling monster, Barkley.
Wow.
Amazing, multi-talented, very, 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 very funny guy. And so he started doing this whispery voice. Yes. And he wanted to go off and pursue his acting and writing career. But at that point, he had already done Dark Crystal. He was already doing the movies with Jim. Jim thought the world of him. He was great. You know, and he did Big Bird Goes to China. Big Bird Goes to Japan with Barkley, and so you know he did a lot of wonderful stuff. So he just said, I just want to pursue that. So then they threw it to Richard Hunt, and Richard started, yes, Elmo, yes, and just screaming. And head writer Norman Stiles.
I don't know how you remember it all.
Yeah, Norman Stiles, an amazing head writer, amazing. He would call over and says, what is Richard doing? Why is he screaming? And so what happened is we have this Muppet green room where it's a green room for all the puppeteers, but then there's all these cardboard boxes with all of the Sesame Street Muppets that they keep in there.
Right. And
so he comes in holding the rods of Elmo. He says, here. You know, and I was like, I did the voice, and he said, come with me. So I went into the control room. Lisa Simon was there, and he said, listen, I'm tired of Norman calling over. I don't need this character. I don't need it. This is what Kevin did. And I did it. She said, I don't care if you don't want to do it, he could do it. And it was like two scripts left for that season. It was the end of the season. Yeah. And I was like, if Richard Hunt, you know, I'm looking up, you know, that's my idol. Richard Hunt, what am I going to do with it? So I got through those two scripts, went home. My mom is daycare mom, and I started watching the kids, you know, crawling and doing stuff and making me laugh and everything. Yeah. The next season I went back, I did this really sweet script that was about Elmo going on vacation, and it was with Emilio Delgado, who plays Luis. And we went to Fix It Shop, and Elmo was like bringing in a suitcase and talking to, you know, Luis about what, you know, this is what I'm putting in, and this is and I'm doing all of this with the rods, you know, and then he runs off and he says, oh, Elmo forgot something. He comes back and kisses Luis and says, bye-bye. And it was the sweet, and everybody went crazy. I mean, Bill knows this, and probably Gene knows this. Frankie Biondo, who is one of our most celebrated,
Gene met Frank.
Cheerleader of Sesame Street.
Wait, we all had dinner together, all four of us.
We always had dinner.
And Yoko Ono was at the next table. We gave her the flowers that Frank brought for Billy.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And that's another amazing story. But Frank has been there. He did the pilot of Sesame Street. He shot the pilot.
We should say he's a cameraman.
Yeah, he's the cameraman. And
he's Italian.
Yeah. If you can get Frankie to laugh. So I got him laughing, and once you know, we know this, you know, as performers, you know, once we get somebody laughing, I was like, okay, there's something happening here. I got something going, and that's how it all started.
One of my favorite things that you did with Elmo is how you would interact with kids, and kids could be mauled by Elmo, and they loved it. You would take Elmo's mouth and just suck a kid's face off, and they loved it. It was like
eat them,
right? And I can't tell you how many times I'd see like these little kids like, "Hi, Elmo," and you would go, "Hi," and then you would just grab their little heads and shake them sometimes.
And I just grab them up. That was a time I went to and did this appearance. It was the sweetest thing, and it was in an area that had this worst tornado and stuff like that. And so we were doing like kind of, you know, raising, you know, help to raise money, and we were doing a little rehearsal, and there was this little. I can't remember how young she was, but just in Sesame Street diaper. It was in Sesame Street, and she was sitting in Mama's lap, and I was doing a rehearsal, and I said, we have to stop, because she was like, her hands were out, like, you know. So I said, we can just stop for a second. And so she comes over, pays no attention to me, grabs the puppet off my arm, takes it back and sits on my lap, and she's holding it like that. She's holding it.
When my son Ben met Elmo, he slapped him across the face. Ben slapped Elmo.
Oh my gosh! Here's a shot of when Jackson first met Elmo. And this is that thing. You grabbed his head and shook him, and it was one of those moments. I loved it. It's one of my favorite photos of Jackson. He's so happy. Yeah. Look how happy he is.
Hey, parents watch their child watch these shows, like even Muppet shows or whatever, and they watch their children. They're like, "Oh, my children, they love it. They love it." And then they come and the children get to see them in person.
Right.
And like sometimes it's like, oh my God, they start, and the parent is like pushing the child towards which they know this is the ultimate, because you love this character so much. What's wrong with you? And I have to say to them, listen, this is a totally different medium. They're seeing a small TV or whatever kind of TV, and it's different when it's live. And so what I do is I have them take their child and stand right on the side, and keep watching the other kids come up and love and laughter and silly. And then I say, and they bring the child, and then it's ready. But they don't get it. And then they say to me, "You have the patience of saints." And I'm like, it's a privilege for me to sit there.
Right.
And it's the best. I mean, I have, I'm like a fly on the wall because they don't care about me. But to hear these children and the stuff that they say, and it is the most wonderful. I'm preaching to the preacher. I mean, I know you.
No, but
I'll stay there. I will not leave. And PR people are like, we got to know everybody that's there, because it's not about us at that point. It's about So
and as long as I've known you, you've always been that way. You will go out of your way to make sure that the kids get a chance that are waiting or are watching, or you've always, and I learned that from you, to just, that's why we're there. When people come, what's the point? Here's a good shot.
Our ego goes away. You know what I mean? It's especially, when you're dealing with celebrities, we just trying to make them laugh and have a good time so we can get what we get from them.
Yeah.
But children, this is their life. They sit and they watch and they learn and they love and they it's all of that.
Yeah. Tell me about this. Did you get to work, did you right hand a lot with Jim, or did you play a lot being on there?
I got to play a lot with Jim. This is from, there was a song called "Put Down the Ducky" with Hoots.
Sure.
With Hoots.
We had every celebrity and everything. And so for the rap party, we had one where all of us got to do "Put Down the Ducky." All the crew, everybody, all the cameramen, everybody got to do and so this is Jim's. And I forget what he said, but he had just, said something, and this was the piece that he did. And he had put his arm down and said, something. But that was behind the scenes for the rap party of him playing around with "Put Down the Ducky."
Right. And there's Hoots.
He always said to me, "Why did they make him so big?" And it was like, well, how do I know, Jim? This is your job. You tell them, and if you want it, listen, I'm fine with making it smaller. So why did they make him so big? I remember when he used to say that to me.
All right.
But it was great. It was a wonderful song.
Oh, yeah. Great song.
By the way, I want to say how much I'm so proud of Ryan Dillon.
Oh, yeah. That's
amazing. He is amazing. For him to step in and have done the most amazing of just keeping that character going, I love him dearly.
He really does an amazing job. It really is a great job.
And I'm really, really honored and really, really happy for him.
I want to, start asking you a little bit about the work you did post Sesame Street. But before I do that, I think I know the answer to this question, but I want to check it with you. What was technically speaking, what was the very first character Muppet you performed?
It was during Kermit asked me to. Kermit Love asked me to do the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, because that was the year that the Muppet movie came out, and so they had the bus from the Muppet movie in that. So that meant the main puppeteers for the Muppets were going to do the bus. And so we still had the Sesame Street float to then populate all of the Sesame Street characters. So he said, we're going to need a lot of puppeteers. Ask your mom, because I was 17.
Wow.
And you come up, and so that meant that I had to come up the night before, because when you do the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, you have to be at that float at like 7:30 in the morning.
Hmm.
And normally in New York, it's not summer. it's like could be 10 degrees, 5 degrees, whatever. And
Billy, you did it, right?
What?
1 year, yeah. I just did it
Billy
once.
did
Not
it
the
once.
float, but yeah.
Yeah, I did it like 15. I don't know how many.
Oh my
years.
God, yeah.
And so this was my first. And so, so I get to go, and then they start picking, who's going to do what, and they gave me Cookie Monster.
Wow.
And I heard the Hallelujah Choir.
Wow.
What? So now I'm like, I can't believe it. And I'm looking at there's another puppeteer, Jim Krupa, who was like, damn. I was like, yes. And so first time on the float, it was, well, Bill, you got to do it. It's beyond amazing. There's a scrim that's black in front of you, and then there's curtains in front, so you can actually see out to a certain extent. It is the most legendary, historic, miracle on 34th Street. It is all of that and a stick of butter. I mean, it's just, it really is. It's the most magical thing that you could ever do, and be not just, because I know how amazing, if you live in Manhattan and you get to see these floats and these, all of this stuff, it's amazing. But to be on a float, so I'm on this thing and I'm doing it, and that's Cookie Monster. They can't hear it, but I'm doing Cookie Monster. I'm like, hey, everybody, Cookie Monster, I'm doing Cookie. But also, I'm looking outside, and as far as the eye can see, is these people screaming, Bob, Susan, Big Bird. As I'm saying that to you guys, it still gives me chills today. It is the most amazing thing. So, of course, I get down to 34th. I have no voice. It's gone. It's totally gone. It's like, but it was beyond amazing. And to put it on, and actually, I got to look at the seams. I got to look at the stone. I was like, oh, so it was like it was all these double wonderful things that I got to experience with that first time. It was beyond. It was wonderful.
Wow.
We're not up there. You're still looking up there. No,
Yeah, they are.
We're not. No, why can't we be over here?
Because we're there.
Why?
Looking right at it.
Why are we in heaven? All right. So, that was fun. That was good.
Okay, so listen.
He didn't talk about the razzles, though, but anyway.
Well, because there's going to be a part 2.
Oh, well, he mentions it in there? Oh, okay.
I think so. Yep.
All right.
Anyway, how would you like to know who won the trivia contest?
I would.
How?
I'd like to know.
And how would you like to know who wins the prize, which is an autographed 8x10 by Billy, and you get to pick which one of the 3 characters. Was it
Swedish Chef, Pepe, and Johnny, or Johnny?
Right. So you're going to have to email us through our website and let us know which one you'd like.
Yes, subscribe.
The winner
subscribe.
is Beelzy66. Whose real name is Melissa.
Beelzy.
Congratulations, Melissa. Beelzy66.
Yes, congratulations.
Winner of our trivia contest. So there you go, folks. You watch, you submit, you win.
It's as easy as that. So, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week for our
Part
second
2 of
half.
Gootnik, Kevin Clash.
And Gene might be catching things out of his ear. So we'll see what happens.
Can't. I already did. I caught one of these.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye.